Good morning, everyone. Only the grinders left, right? That's right. The real crew's here now. We can really talk.
David Moore, Dallas Morning News. Can you talk about your rationale in bringing the 4 kickers in, and is it your goal to at least have one of these guys emerge to bring on and kind of further the competition going forward?
Well, I'll just acknowledge we've had a workout today, but I mean this is to me is part of your process. So I don't really get it's not quite completed before I came here, so I really don't have anything to report on the evaluation. But it's a group that we are fortunate to have them come in and work, and it was good work.
Knowing you haven't made a determination yet, but it is an indication doing it at this stage that you haven't been pleased with the competition at that position to this point.
Well, I think we're recognizing the fact that you're always evaluating. I mean, you're always evaluating your current players versus other teams, and once again, you've been in practice every day. We've committed a lot of time and energy to the opportunity, so we just want to make sure we max it out.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Would you like to get this done before you go to Denver, or you want to wait until you get back from Denver before you sign someone?
Frankly, I'm going to go right from this press conference to visit with everybody that was out there. So we'll see what comes out of that conversation. Yeah.
Dixon with the AP. Your Green Bay days, did you ever have a year where it kind of went in with this uncertainty at kicker and the competition part of it?
Oh yeah, definitely. My first year, 06, and then thank God for Mason Crosby. I mean, that's I think it's just when you're fortunate enough to have a long tenured specialist, it definitely is a relief from a head coach's perspective. So yeah, I went through this in 06 with the kickers. Went through it a couple times with the punting position. So I think you just create opportunities, particularly when you're going with a young, more inexperienced specialist, and just trust your evaluation.
Todd Archer, the ESPN. With Simi, obviously he was around all last year, didn't catch a pass. Where has he made his biggest strides?
All the way through. I think Simi's his work in the off season. I think he's playing to his speed. He's been very physical. Has done a really nice job time and time again in the contested catch area. So I would say Simi's he's in the process of making that second-year jump.
Why didn't you think you saw some of that last year? Just newness to everything?
Oh, I think it's all the thing. I think the receiver core obviously had a lot of experience last year, and the opportunities were limited. But no, I think he built a good foundation last year, and I think he really had a good off season.
David Hellman, Fox Sports. You noted at the start how quickly this week after ramp up and before Denver was going to go by. Now that it's mostly over with, how do you feel about the work that y'all can getting done?
That was really part of the message to the team today. It's just this time of year goes so fast, and just the urgency and keeping the light bright on what you're able to get done here. And I think it just manifests the reality of you only get so many fundamental drills, you only get so many padded practice drills, and but I think the work's been good. I don't want to jinx it, but we've been able to improve every single day, and I think when you're able to do that through the install phase, because to me the 8 install practices have always been the hardest practice, because particularly for young players, and you can see it in their missed assignments and mental errors, because they come in and everything they did the day before isn't carried over till today. So I mean it's they're dealing with the new schemes today. The emphasis is 4-minute backed up and goal line, so this will be really the first time we'll be able to hit goal line, both offense and defense. So, once you get through this practice here, as far as the scheme, we get into Denver work, game plans, and things like that. I think players are able to catch your breath and focus. They're not thinking as much about the scheme. They're out there playing.
I know it's Clarence Hill for War Star Telegram. We've talked so much about one-score games and games come down to the last minute. How important is it to get the kicking situation right? I know you try to be patient, but how important is that?
It's very important. It's a difference, and you're going to be in at least 8 to 10 games that come down to the last series. In a 2-minute drill, that's what the stats show you. Playoff football, it's every game except one last year. We watched the with the goal line emphasis going in today, we watched the FC Championship game. They had 9 plays inside the 2-yard line at the end of that game. So, and that's the difference, going to the Super Bowl and not going to the Super Bowl, and it's been that way quite some time in playoff football. So, we're just trying to maximize our time in that focus and in that space, and I like the way our players are executing in those situations so far.
Talked about not jinxing things, maybe not jinxing. There's not been a fight at practice. It's been a couple.
Well,
skirmishes,
that's
but is that by
debatable.
design?
That's debatable. So I'm just curious. What's the difference between a skirmish and a fight?
Everybody jumping in and getting involved. Really not been.
Well, I think our team is using exemplary techniques in those particular situations. We call it the Viper technique. I think our guys have done a good job. The last thing you want to see a guy do is throw a punch and break his hand. I mean that's not you get thrown out of the game. So you're penalizing your team, and then we all understand how important everybody's hands are. So I think they're doing a good job. This is our last time practicing really against each other, and I don't want fights. Fights are a waste of time. There's a day and age. I think we all enjoy the good old fight, but it's you throw a punch, you're out of the game. So. It's important that when they do get on the edge, because you want the physicality, you want the competitiveness, you want the chippiness. I want all that. Trust me, so don't think we don't want that, and we're not pushing for it. But they got to be disciplined at that point, and just kind of lock up, and everybody's got to lock up and get their guy out of there. So that's part of football.
The chippiness and the physicality the way you want to this camp?
Yeah, I mean, we've had enough of it. I don't keep score. I mean, there you go. There's a new stat. Boy, you guys are, man. Every time I walk in there, I learn something. But yeah, I'm not charting it, but I think the most important thing, and we've been able to. I don't think there's been a day where just from the practice corrections where you're not seeing carryover from the fundamental drills. You're seeing corrections made from the day before. So and that's all the things you need as a football team to grow through training camp. I mean, we need this work, and like we said earlier, it is going extremely fast. I wish it'd slow down a little bit.
Louis Scruggs, NBC5. Can you give us your thoughts on Tyron Smith's camp and the fact that he's been available pretty much every day?
Yeah, I mean, Tyron's in great shape. There's times you just watch him go through the off-season program. He's, his physical gifts are extraordinary. I mean, there's times he walks in the room, you think he can just move him to tight end. He's got that kind of ability. So, but yeah, he's having an excellent camp, and I think really you got to be in tune with their workload, both him and Zach. I mean, that's something I know I focus on each day because at the end of the day, these guys play a lot of football, and they need the fundamental work and the situational work, and I think we're definitely hitting the target as far as the quality over quantity.
Alarcon, Dallas Morning News. What have your impressions been of your undrafted rookie class, and has Mika Tafua stood out as part of that?
Mika's definitely stood out. I mean, if you just look at pure workload, energy, production. I mean, he's been at the top of the charts every day. So I love his energy. I love his physicality. So yeah, I think this is a big week for those guys, particularly when we get to the game. So this will be a big week for all those guys.
With James Washington going out as early as he did, do you feel that the receivers here have kind of really maximized that opportunity from what you've seen? And do you feel better about that position now than you did going in, given how many improving guys?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got to be excited with the extra reps. You can see what Noah's doing with them. JT, Jalen is having an excellent camp for a young guy. It's definitely just the way he's absorbed the scheme has been very impressive, and he just needs that high competitive work with the quarterbacks, and we're getting that, particularly him and Dak. So you go all the way, you just go down through. I think the guys that you see Vasher making plays in the red zone. So I like the way the guys have taken advantage of their opportunities.
Another undrafted guy, Lindstrom, left-handed center. Is that different? I haven't seen many left-handed centers.
No doubt. I like his way he fits into the room. He's got a pretty nice voice too. So you can run with that one. But he's comes from a really good program. You can see his his ability to play right away. The thing that jumps out to me about Alec is, we were in the rookie orientation camp, and and he corrected the quarterback the first day on a play call. So I mean, that's how he's wired. He's wired the right way. But he hasn't had a lot of opportunities. But he's definitely a young guy that'll benefit from these next couple of weeks.
All right. What's with the voice? What did he say?
Well, the rookies have an opportunity to sing in the team meeting, so he was the last one today. And I'm worried about the motivation of our team because he was the last one today. No, I'm kidding. He did a great job. So.
Anecdotally, from my perspective anyway, Will Grier, he seems pretty aggressive for a second, third quarterback when he's out there. Do you agree? And I guess overall, just what do you make of that? What do you make of the camp?
I think Will's made a step. Clearly, I mean, I think Will's done a really nice job with his reps. You could feel the command. I think coming in at the time that he came in, the language barrier is always a challenge when you go into a new system like ours. And so I there every day in the off season, and I think you're seeing its pay off. But I think he's playing much quicker, and he's making plays. And I do think he's definitely has the type of playmaking ability not only to make plays in the pocket, but definitely out of the pocket.
When you look at your secondary, how deep is this group? And I know you're not thinking 53-man roster, but how difficult can you anticipate those decisions will be?
I mean, this is the way you want it. I mean, the competition is outstanding, throughout the team, but especially in the secondary. Yeah, we feel great about our depth. I love the way they compete. I don't recall the consistency and the competitive catches, both from not only from the corner position but from the safety position. So, yeah, I really love the look of our secondary.
Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. Speaking on Isaac Alarcon, noticed yesterday he was taking some reps at the tackle position. Is that because of the absence and injury to Matt Waletzko, or was that the plan coming in to kind of?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, injuries definitely, cause more opportunities, and obviously it's affected our rotation. No doubt about it. So, but Isaac's, can't say enough about him. Just the ability to play inside and to start outside and go, play inside, which I think is a little more natural at guard for him. But he's just a young guy that comes to work every day and grinds. It's fun to see him have some of the success of the opportunities that he's been given.
Mike, when you and the staff are assessing the backup quarterback position, in your discussion, how much do you weigh what Cooper Rush did on the road in a key game last year when you're talking about, okay, how are we going to handle this position going forward, just based on what you've seen during practice sessions?
It's definitely part of the evaluation. I mean, that's our business, and I think you have to stay in tune with that. What have you done for me lately? I mean, he had an opportunity last year and produced. I love the road that Cooper's traveled. I think it's definitely someone that we all have a lot of trust in and belief. I mean, not only from the coaching staff, but from his teammates. So, but yeah, that's his experience and being able to go in there and play as he did and how he played. Going back to the preseason game against Pittsburgh, standing in there taking those hits, and so all that is part of the evaluation. So definitely that comes into account.
Joe Trahan, WFAA TV, two-parter, Mike. First, we talked earlier about fighting. Do you reiterate that before you go to Denver and face somebody else? And then second part is, with the way this roster is constructed, what will you be paying particular attention to during this work?
Well, I mean, definitely, we're not going up there for 3 days to go up there and have fights. I mean, that's, and Nathaniel and I, we clearly talked about the expectation, what we want the practice to look like. So there's been a lot of dialogue there. It'll be no different next week too. So we're going up there for high quality work. We want the speed, we want the competitiveness, we want all that. So, and we got a big day in front of us Thursday. Particularly with the altitude and the heat, and this will be a great experience for us. So then we'll take Friday. It'll be more teaching, and we'll just practice against ourselves and and get into game mode. Come Saturday with all that. So yeah, definitely. I don't want any fights. That doesn't represent toughness. And in the end of the day, it's a penalty. So I mean, and you have the chance of getting thrown out of a game. So yeah, we definitely don't want that. And what was the second part, Joe?
Paying particular attention, anything with the way this roster is constructed, something you really want to make sure you hone in
I'll be honest with you, I just want to see us take that first step as a team. I'm thinking that's clearly, you usually have to wait for that moment in the first preseason game, but we'll get a chance to do that. So, playing against other people, and I'm anticipating a team that's going to play with a lot of energy, like to play the way we want to play. So frankly, I just want to see our guys compete. I want to see process. I want to see the pace of operation. I want to see tempo. I want to see the mind speed of our guys knowing what's expected of them. And then, hey, we're not telling them exactly. This isn't like we got 3 games of breakdown to go on these guys. So there's going to be a little bit of the unknown, and that's important because we talk about it every first week of the season. 35% of those snaps in the first 4 weeks of the season are unscouted looks. So I'm looking for all of those things because at the end of the day, your tempo and pace and mind speed, those are the little things, the details that you're looking for as far as your team getting ready to go play real games.
The primary value with these joint practices, of course, is to evaluate and develop your own team, but is there a secondary value in being able to get, for your pro scouts, more of a look at some other teams in terms of the Broncos and Chargers?
Yeah, Michael, I think that's obvious. Yeah, I mean, you'd be, I think it's just like anything. I know years as a quarterback coach, I thought it was really so, and I think the Combine does a good job giving you, but yeah, I mean, you really don't know to stand next to that quarterback. I mean, it's a position that you got to feel the velocity come off it, or just get a really good idea. So you definitely get those type of looks, up close and personal for both staffs. I mean, they're going to be looking at our players, and definitely we'll be looking at their players. That's one of the benefits of practicing against each other.
With Curse, will he go today? If he doesn't,
I don't anticipate J.K. will be out there today.
Denver with him or Gifford, maybe?
Yeah, I think Giff will be hard pressed. J.K. will decide that tonight. Yeah.
How did Cox look after?
Good. Yeah. No, I mean, I think once again, this is more of a just being smart with the reps coming off the his major. I mean, we talk about him and just I want to get used to the brace and so forth. So we'll see how much he goes today.
I'll finish with Brad. Cowboys Radio. Talking about quarterback evaluation between Rush and Grier. And Grier was saying the other day that one of the things that he has had the opportunity to do in camp this year that he didn't have last year is show his understanding and ability to run the offense. But when you go into a preseason game, you're not running the offense, are you? Just like lining up and running plays. How does that go into the evaluation of the quarterback?
Well, I mean, the games are most important because at the end of the day, when you got to play quarterback, and it's you just learn this as a quarterback coach. You have to prepare your second, third, fourth quarterbacks for preseason football. Preseason football is different. The protection is not going to be clean, unfortunately. So there's other things going on. I mean, you may have a guy that's playing in front of 75,000 people. The biggest crowd he's been in front of is 7,200. So I mean, you got all those different factors that go into. So I mean, that's the way I've always done it with quarterbacks. So that's why scramble drills are important. I mean, those are why all those things are important. Because at the end of the day, as a quarterback, when they give me the ball, I got to move the team, and that's really what I'm looking for. In Will coming in when he did, the thing you always loved about Will, and going back to West Virginia, I mean, a guy played with a lot of moxie, and he has that, and you didn't really see that last year on the scout team, and that's not, and it's a different deal, the timing of everything. So I'm excited to see him playing real games.
Thank you.
Thank you.